Get away from my son's grave right now. The billionaire's voice exploded across the pristine cemetery like a gunshot, shattering the morning silence as Olivia Wellington stormed toward the gravestone, her designer heels clicking against the marble pathway like bullets. Her face was twisted with rage, her hands clenched into fists, ready for war. A young black woman was hunched over Noah's headstone, her body racked with violent sobs that shook her entire frame. Her fingers desperately clutched something against her chest while a small boy tugged frantically at her work-stained uniform, his eyes wide with terror at the approaching storm. "Security!" Olivia screamed, her voice carrying across the exclusive cemetery where millionaires came to mourn in peace. "Call security now! This woman is vandalizing my son's grave!" Maya Johnson's head snapped up, tears streaming down her face like rivers of pain. At 28, she looked older, worn down by double shifts at the downtown diner and nights spent worrying about rent money. Her son Ethan, barely 6 years old, pressed himself against her leg, trembling at the fury radiating from this wealthy stranger. "Please, ma'am, I'm not." Maya's voice cracked, barely a whisper against Olivia's hurricane of rage. "Don't you dare speak." Olivia cut her off, advancing like a predator stalking prey. "I don't know what sick game you're playing, but this is my son's resting place. You have exactly 10 seconds to get your hands off that headstone before I have you arrested for trespassing." Maya's grip tightened on the worn photograph pressed against her chest, her voice barely audible through her tears. "You don't understand. He saved my life." "Liar!" Olivia's scream was so loud that birds scattered from nearby trees. "My son is dead. He's been dead for 6 months. He can't save anyone. You're nothing but a grave robber, a scammer looking for your next victim." The security guard from the cemetery's main office began jogging toward them, drawn by the commotion. Other mourners in the distance stopped their own private ceremonies to stare at the spectacle unfolding near the Wellington family plot. Olivia didn't care who was watching. This stranger had violated the one place on earth that belonged solely to her grief. If you're as shocked as Olivia right now about what's unfolding at this graveside, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because this story is about to reveal secrets that will completely change how you think about family, love, and the hidden lives of those closest to us. Hit the subscribe button, like and share as we dive into the real story. But here's what I need to know. What would you do if you found a complete stranger at your loved one's grave, and that stranger's child knew intimate details about your family that only someone truly close could know? Let me know in the comments, because Maya's next revelation is going to shatter everything Olivia believes about her son. The billionaire had visited her son's grave and found a waitress crying with a child. She had been shocked, angry, and defensive. But what she discovered changed everything she thought she knew about family, love, and the true meaning of success. "But there's more you need to know," Maya continued, her voice breaking with emotion, "about how Noah and I really met, about why he was even in that part of town during a blizzard, and how we fell in love." Maya's hands trembled as she pulled out her phone, scrolling to a photo that would change everything Olivia thought she knew about her son's story. "This wasn't just about him saving a homeless pregnant woman," Maya whispered. "We met 6 months before that night, at Romano's Italian restaurant downtown. I was working a double shift, and Noah was there for a business dinner with clients." The photo showed Maya in a waitress uniform, younger looking and visibly pregnant, standing next to Noah in an expensive suit. Both were smiling, but there was something deeper in their eyes, a connection that transcended the surface differences between a billionaire's son and a struggling waitress. "I was 7 months pregnant then, working 2 jobs to make ends rent," Maya continued. "The father had left when he found out about the baby, and I was trying to save money for when Ethan arrived. That night, at Romano's, I was assigned to Noah's table, him and 3 business associates discussing some major deal." Maya's voice grew softer, more intimate. "I was so nervous. These were clearly important, wealthy men, and I was just this pregnant girl trying not to spill their expensive wine. But Noah was different. While his colleagues barely looked at me, Noah asked my name, asked how I was feeling, and made sure I had a chair to sit in when I needed to rest." She scrolled to another photo, This one clearly taken later, showing Noah and Maya sitting together in what looked like the same restaurant, but during a quieter moment. His associates were rude to me, Maya continued, her voice filled with old pain. When I accidentally spilled water on one of their contracts, they started yelling. Called me clumsy, said I was too pregnant to be working around important people. One of them even complained to the manager, demanding I be fired on the spot. Olivia felt a chill run through her. She could picture the scene. Her son Noah's wealthy business associates treating a pregnant woman with the kind of casual cruelty that money sometimes breeds. But Noah. Maya's voice filled with warmth. Noah stood up for me. He told his associates that if they couldn't treat a hardworking woman with respect, they could find another business partner. He actually walked away from $1 million deal to defend me. Maya showed Olivia another photo. Noah and Maya outside the restaurant, Noah's expensive suit jacket draped over Maya's shoulders as they talked on a bench. After his associates left, Noah stayed. He said he was ashamed of their behavior and wanted to make sure I was okay. We talked for hours after my shift ended. He told me about the pressure of living up to his family's expectations, and I told him about trying to raise a baby alone while working 2 jobs. The next photo was clearly taken on a different day. Noah and Maya at what looked like a small cafe, both laughing over coffee cups. He started coming to Romano's every week, always requesting my section. Not for business meetings, but just to see me. He'd sit at table 7, order the same meal, and we'd talk whenever I had a break. He was so different from what I expected a billionaire's son to be. Kind, humble, genuinely interested in my life. Maya's voice grew tender. He'd ask about my pregnancy, my dreams, my fears. Noah never made me feel like I was less than him because I was a waitress. He said I was the strongest person he'd ever met, working so hard to provide for my baby. She showed Olivia a photo that made her gasp. Noah kneeling beside Maya's chair at the restaurant, his hand gently placed on her pregnant belly, both of them with tears in their eyes. The first time Noah felt Ethan kick, Maya whispered. I was 5 minutes into my break and suddenly the baby was moving like crazy. Noah's face lit up like he'd witnessed a miracle. He said he'd never felt anything more beautiful than that little life growing inside me. Olivia stared at the photo, seeing her son Noah in a moment of pure joy and wonder, connected to a woman and child who weren't his by blood, but were becoming his by choice. By my 8th month, Noah was visiting almost every day, Maya continued. He'd bring me prenatal vitamins, books about parenting, little gifts for the baby. He never asked for anything in return. He just wanted to be part of our lives. The next photo showed Noah assembling a crib in what looked like a small apartment. His expensive clothes replaced by jeans and a t-shirt, his face focused and determined. Noah set up the nursery in my tiny apartment, Maya said softly, painted the walls, built the furniture, even installed a new lock on my door because he was worried about my safety. He said every baby deserved to come home to a room filled with love. Maya's voice cracked with emotion. I fell in love with Noah during those months, not because of his money or his status, but because of how he treated me, like I mattered, like my baby mattered, like our little family was worth protecting. She showed Olivia another photo. Noah and Maya at what appeared to be a prenatal appointment, Noah holding Maya's hand as they looked at an ultrasound screen. Noah came to every doctor's appointment, Maya continued. The nurses started assuming he was the father because he was so attentive, so caring. He'd ask more questions than I did, take notes about everything the doctor said, make sure I was eating right and getting enough rest. Maya pulled out a small notebook, different from the one she'd shown earlier. Noah kept a pregnancy journal too, not just about the baby, but about us, how we were falling in love, how scared he was to tell you about me, how he dreamed of being a father to Ethan. Olivia felt tears streaming down her face. This wasn't just about Noah saving a stranger. This was about him finding the love of his life and being too afraid to share it with his mother. The night I went into labor, Maya continued, Noah was at Romano's waiting for me to get off work. We had plans to go shopping for last-minute baby items, but I started having contractions during my shift. Maya showed Olivia a photo that stopped her heart. Noah in hospital scrubs, holding Maya's hand as she lay in a hospital bed, both of them looking scared but determined. Noah drove me to the hospital himself, Maya said. Stayed with me through 14 hours of labor, held my hand through every contraction, whispered encouragement when I wanted to give up. When the doctors said I needed an emergency C-section, he was the first person I saw when I woke up, holding our son. The next photo showed Noah in the hospital room, cradling newborn Ethan with tears streaming down his face, while Maya slept peacefully in the background. Noah cried when he first held Ethan, Maya whispered. Said he'd never known love could be this powerful, this immediate. He promised our son that he'd spend his life making sure we never wanted for anything. Maya's voice grew sad. But Noah was terrified of introducing us to you. He said you'd worked so hard to build your empire, and he was afraid you'd think he was throwing it all away for a waitress and a baby that wasn't technically his. Noah kept saying he needed to find the right way to tell you, the right time. She showed Olivia one final photo from that period. Noah, Maya, and baby Ethan in the hospital room, all three of them looking like a complete family. We were planning to get married, Maya said quietly. Noah proposed to me when Ethan was 2 months old. Not because he felt obligated, but because he said we were already a family in every way that mattered. He wanted to make it official. Maya pulled out a small velvet box and opened it to reveal a simple but beautiful engagement ring. Noah said he didn't want something flashy, because that wasn't who we were. He wanted something that would remind me every day that real love doesn't need to be expensive to be precious. Olivia stared at the ring, realizing that her son Noah had been planning to marry this woman, to officially become Ethan's father, to build a life that had nothing to do with business success and everything to do with love. We were going to tell you after the wedding, Maya continued. Noah said he wanted to present you with a complete family, not ask permission to create one. He thought if you saw how happy we were, how much we loved each other, you'd understand. Maya's voice broke completely. But the night Noah died, he was driving to my apartment to practice his speech one more time. He'd finally worked up the courage to invite you to dinner, to introduce you to your daughter-in-law and grandson. Noah was so excited, so nervous, so hopeful. The cruel irony hit Olivia like a physical blow. Her son Noah had been driving to prepare for the moment he'd finally share his happiness with her when the accident happened. He died on his way to practice telling her about the greatest joy of his life. Noah loved you so much, Maya said through her tears. He talked about you constantly, worried about disappointing you, dreamed of the day you'd hold Ethan and realized that love multiplies when it's shared freely. Noah just ran out of time. As Maya finished her story, Olivia understood that this wasn't just about Noah saving a homeless woman. It was about him finding his soulmate, his purpose, his complete family in the most unexpected place. And her son had died before he could share that beautiful truth with the mother he'd loved, but been too afraid to trust with his heart. Maya scrolled to another photo on her phone, security camera footage from the hospital that night. It showed Noah in the waiting room, his head in his hands, his expensive suit ruined, but his attention completely focused on the emergency room doors. He waited for 14 hours, Maya said softly. Through my emergency C-section, through Ethan's first night in the NICU, through every complication and scare. The nurses said they'd never seen someone who wasn't family stay that long for strangers. Maya's voice grew softer, more intimate. While I was unconscious from the emergency C-section, Noah held Ethan for the first 3 hours of his life. The nurses said he cried when he first heard Ethan cry, happy tears. He told them he'd never experienced anything more beautiful than the sound of a baby taking his first breath. Each word felt like a dagger to Olivia's heart. She had built an empire, but she had somehow failed to truly know her own son. How had Noah been living this entire other life, this beautiful, meaningful life without her knowing? The head nurse, Mrs. Rodriguez, she's retired now, but she still talks about that night, Maya continued. She said Noah looked at Ethan like he was looking at a miracle. He asked her if all babies were this perfect, and when she said yes, he started crying again. He told her he'd never realized how much hope could fit into something so small. Maya pulled out another photo, Noah asleep in a hospital chair, baby Ethan curled up on his chest, both of them peaceful in a way that spoke of profound love and connection. The nurses started calling him Daddy Noah, because he was there more than any biological father they'd ever seen. When Ethan had to stay an extra 2 weeks due to complications, Noah took vacation time from work to be there around the clock. Olivia's voice was barely a whisper. He told me he was taking time off for a business trip to Singapore. He lied to protect us, Maya said gently. He was terrified you would think he was being irresponsible with his time and money. He said you had worked so hard to build your empire, and he didn't want to disappoint you by getting emotionally involved with people who couldn't contribute to your business legacy. The truth cut deeper than any knife. Noah had hidden the most meaningful part of his life because he thought she would see love and compassion as weaknesses, as distractions from success. During those 2 weeks, Noah learned everything about taking care of a premature baby, Maya continued. He could change a diaper faster than most nurses. He knew exactly how to position Ethan for feeding, and he memorized every beep and alarm on the NICU machines. The doctor started consulting with him about Ethan's care, because he was there for every shift change, every medication adjustment. Maya reached into her worn purse and pulled out a small notebook, its pages yellowed and soft from constant handling. He started keeping this journal the day Ethan was born. He wrote in it every time he visited, documenting every milestone, every smile, every word. He said he wanted Ethan to know how much he was loved, even if something happened to him. "Why?" Olivia whispered, her voice barely audible. "Why didn't he tell me about you?" Maya's expression softened with understanding. He wanted to. Every single day for 3 years, he wrestled with telling you. He would practice conversations in the mirror, write letters he never sent, even bought plane tickets to take us to meet you but changed his mind at the last minute. Maya showed Olivia another photo that made her gasp. Noah and Ethan at an airport, suitcases in hand, both wearing matching t-shirts that said, "Family Vacation." The timestamp showed it was taken just 4 months before Noah's death. "We were supposed to surprise you for your birthday last year," Maya explained. Noah had planned everything. Flight to your summer house in the Hamptons, reservations at your favorite restaurant, even bought Ethan a little suit so he'd look appropriate for meeting his grandmother. But at the gate, he panicked. Maya's voice cracked with emotion. He said he looked at Ethan in that suit and realized you might think we were trying to play dress-up, trying to fit into a world where we didn't belong. He was so scared you'd see us as gold diggers or opportunists that he couldn't risk it. The photograph blurred through Olivia's tears. Her son had been planning to introduce her to her grandson, because that's what Ethan was, in every way that mattered. And fear had stopped him. Fear of her reaction. Fear of her judgment. Fear that she wouldn't understand that love doesn't recognize economic boundaries. "We never took that trip," Maya continued, but Noah kept those plane tickets in his wallet until the day he died. He said they reminded him of what was possible if he could just find the courage. "He talked about you constantly," Maya continued, "how proud he was of your accomplishments, how much he loved you, how he wanted to be worthy of the empire you'd built. But he also talked about how lonely that empire felt, how he wished success could be measured in hugs instead of dollars. He never missed a milestone," Maya said softly. "First words, first steps, first day of preschool. When Ethan was afraid of the dark, Noah bought him a nightlight that projected stars on the ceiling. When Ethan had nightmares about monsters, Noah created a monster spray that was really just water with glitter. But Ethan believed it worked because Noah believed it worked." If you're feeling as emotionally shattered as Olivia right now, you need to subscribe, because what Maya reveals next about Noah's final months will completely change everything you think you know about love, sacrifice, and the true meaning of family. Here's what's touching me about this story. Can you imagine discovering that your child lived an entire secret life filled with love and purpose, and they were too afraid to share it with you? What does that say about the relationships we think we have with the people closest to us? Share your thoughts in the comments, because Maya's about to reveal Noah's final secret that will leave you questioning everything. Maya pulled out a manila envelope, worn from handling. 6 months before he died, Noah asked me to keep this safe. He said if anything ever happened to him, I should bring it to you. Inside the envelope were dozens of documents that painted a picture of a man Olivia had never known. Report cards from Ethan's preschool with notes from teachers. Ethan talks constantly about his uncle Noah. It's clear this man has a profound positive influence on his development. Medical records showing Noah listed as an emergency contact for both Maya and Ethan. School forms with Noah's signature, giving permission for field trips and class parties. There were receipts for everything: birthday presents, Christmas gifts, clothes, shoes, groceries, medical bills. Noah had been quietly supporting this family for 3 years, never asking for recognition or gratitude. He was planning to adopt Ethan, Maya said quietly, pulling out legal documents that made Olivia's heart stop. The paperwork was almost complete. His lawyer said it would be finalized within weeks. Olivia stared at the adoption papers, seeing Noah's signature on every page, seeing how he'd legally changed his emergency contact information to include Maya and Ethan, seeing how he'd already begun the process of making them his legal family. And this, Maya said, pulling out Noah's updated will, this was the hardest thing for him to do. Not because he didn't want to provide for us, but because it made our relationship real in a way that scared him. The will was dated just 2 months before Noah's death. Maya and Ethan were named as beneficiaries, but not for money. Noah had specifically requested that a trust be set up for Ethan's education and Maya's security, ensuring they would never have to struggle again. But more than that, he had written a detailed letter explaining his wishes for their care, his hopes for Ethan's future, and his love for the family he had chosen. He never told us about the will, Maya said. We found out from his lawyer after the accident. Noah said he didn't want us to love him for what he could give us. He wanted us to love him for who he was when he was with us. Maya showed Olivia one more document that broke her heart completely. A handwritten letter from Noah to his lawyer, explaining his motivations for the adoption and the will. Robert, I know this might seem sudden to outsiders, but Maya and Ethan have been my family for 3 years. They didn't choose me because of my money or my success. They didn't even know who I was when we met. They chose me because I showed up, because I stayed, because I loved them unconditionally. Ethan calls me Daddy in his sleep. Maya trusts me with her deepest fears and biggest dreams. They've given me a purpose that no business achievement ever could. I want to make our family legal because they deserve the security of knowing they're protected, and I deserve the honor of being Ethan's father officially. I know my mother might not understand at first. She's worked so hard to build our empire, and she might see this as a distraction from that legacy. But Maya and Ethan are my legacy. They're proof that love multiplies when you give it away freely. They're evidence that the greatest success isn't what you accumulate, but what you give. If something happens to me, please help my mother understand that this isn't charity or obligation. It's love in its purest form. Help her see that Maya and Ethan didn't take me away from my real family. They gave me the chance to be the son, the father, and the man I always wanted to be. Olivia's tears fell onto the letter, smudging Noah's careful handwriting. This was her son, but this was a version of Noah she had never seen. Thoughtful, passionate, purposeful, in a way that transcended business success. Maya pulled out one final item from her purse. A letter addressed to Olivia in Noah's handwriting, but this one was different. It was sealed with, "To be opened only if something happens to me," written across the front. He gave this to me 6 months before he died, Maya whispered. He said if anything ever happened to him, I should find you and give you this letter. He said it contained everything he was too scared to say while he was alive. With trembling hands, Olivia opened the letter and read words that would haunt her forever. The letter fell from Olivia's hands as she sobbed harder than she had since the day Noah died. Her son had found love, purpose, and family, and he had been too afraid to share it with her. What kind of mother had she been that her own child felt he couldn't trust her with his happiness? But more than that, what kind of grandmother was she going to be now that she knew the truth? Behind the letter, just as Noah had promised, was a small key taped to the envelope. the key to recovering not just his grandfather's watch, but the piece of Noah's heart that he had sacrificed for love. As both women stood crying at Noah's grave, Olivia understood that Maya's grief was just as deep, just as real, and just as devastating as her own. Because Maya hadn't just lost a friend. She had lost the only father figure Ethan had ever known, the man who had saved both their lives in every way that mattered, and the love that had transformed them from survivors into a family. Little Ethan, who had been quietly listening to the adults talk, tugged on Olivia's coat. "Are you sad because you miss Uncle Noah too?" he asked, with the innocent wisdom of a child who understood loss. Olivia knelt down to his level, seeing Noah's kindness reflected in this little boy's eyes. "Yes, sweetheart, I miss him very much. Mama says Uncle Noah is watching us from heaven," Ethan said seriously, "and he wants us to take care of each other now. Do you want us to take care of each other?" The simple question from this 6-year-old broke through every defense Olivia had left. Here was her grandson, not by blood but by love, offering her the same unconditional acceptance that Noah had found in this family. "Yes," Olivia whispered, her voice breaking, "I would like that very much." The war at Noah's grave was over, but the journey toward healing, understanding, and building the family Noah had dreamed of was just beginning. 6 months later, a beautiful transformation had taken place not just at Greenwood Cemetery, but in the lives of 3 people who had learned that love truly does multiply when shared freely. Olivia, Maya, and Ethan had established new traditions that honored Noah's memory while building their own unique family bond. Every Sunday, they met at Noah's grave for what Ethan called family meetings, where they told Noah about their week, shared their hopes and fears, and celebrated the love that had brought them together. But their relationship had grown far beyond cemetery visits. Olivia had quietly purchased the apartment building where Maya and Ethan lived, not to control their lives, but to ensure they never had to worry about rent or living conditions again. She renovated Maya's unit, creating a beautiful, spacious home while maintaining Maya's independence and dignity. Maya had enrolled in night school, working toward a business degree with Olivia's encouragement and support. Not because Olivia wanted to change her, but because Maya had dreams of opening her own restaurant someday. Dreams that Noah had nurtured and that Olivia was determined to help fulfill. Little Ethan was thriving in ways that would have made Noah proud. Olivia had set up the education trust that Noah had planned. But more importantly, she had become the grandmother Ethan had always needed. She attended his soccer games, helped with homework, and learned to make Noah's special pancakes from Maya's patient instruction. "Grandma Olivia," Ethan said one Sunday morning as they prepared to visit Noah's grave, "do you think Uncle Noah can see us being friends now?" The title, Grandma Olivia, had come naturally over the months as Olivia had gotten to know the little boy who had stolen her son's heart. She had learned about his favorite foods, mac and cheese with the noodles shaped like dinosaurs, his fear of thunderstorms, inherited from Noah, his dreams of becoming a firefighter so he could save people like Uncle Noah did, and his unwavering belief that love could fix anything. "I think he can, sweetheart," Olivia replied, adjusting the small bow tie that Ethan insisted on wearing every Sunday because Uncle Noah always dressed up nice. "And I think he's very happy that we found each other." Maya watched this interaction with tears in her eyes, not of sadness but of gratitude. Over the past months, she and Olivia had become more than co-guardians of Noah's memory. They had become genuine friends, bonded by their shared love for the man who had changed both their lives. Olivia had learned about Maya's dreams, her fears, her incredible strength in raising Ethan alone, and her unwavering integrity in never asking for more than she needed. Maya had shown Olivia a different way to measure success. Not by profit margins or market share, but by the number of people whose lives you touch with kindness. They had spent countless hours together, sharing stories about Noah from their different perspectives. Olivia had visited Maya's workplace at the diner, not as a billionaire slumming it, but as a woman curious about the place where her son's chosen family had struggled and persevered. Maya had shown her the corner booth where Noah used to wait for her shift to end, where he'd help Ethan with coloring books while Maya finished her closing duties. In return, Maya had helped Olivia see Noah through different eyes. Not as the serious businessman who attended board meetings and managed corporate strategies, but as the man who got excited about children's soccer games, who knew every word to Disney movies, and who had found his true calling, not in boardrooms, but in being the father figure that Ethan desperately needed. The three of them had created new traditions that blended Olivia's resources with Maya's warmth and Ethan's innocent joy. Saturday mornings were for pancakes and cartoons at Olivia's mansion, where Ethan had his own room decorated with superhero themes that Noah had loved. Sunday evenings were for dinner at Maya's apartment, where Olivia learned to appreciate simple pleasures like homemade meals and board games. But perhaps the most meaningful tradition was their weekly visits to the bank, where Olivia had moved Noah's grandfather's watch to a new safety deposit box that required both women's signatures to access. Each week, they would hold the watch together, sharing memories of Noah and making plans for the day when Ethan would be old enough to understand its significance. "This watch has seen 4 generations of love," Olivia had told Ethan on his 7th birthday, letting him hold the precious timepiece carefully. "Your great-great-grandfather wore it when he started his first business. Your great-grandfather wore it when he met your great-grandmother. And your Uncle Noah wore it when he found you and your mama." "Will I wear it someday?" Ethan had asked, his small fingers tracing the intricate engravings. "When you're ready to carry on the family tradition of loving people more than you love things," Olivia had replied, words that would have made Noah proud. The transformation in Olivia's business empire had been equally profound. Inspired by Noah's example, she had redirected a significant portion of Wellington Technologies' profits toward charitable initiatives, homeless shelters, programs for single mothers, education funds for underprivileged children. Maya served on the board of the new Wellington Family Foundation, bringing a perspective that ensured the money reached the people who needed it most. Noah always said that success should be measured by how many people sleep better at night because of what you do during the day. Maya had told the foundation's board during their first meeting. "We want to make sure a lot of people sleep better." The foundation had already helped dozens of families like Maya and Ethan once were. Families caught between circumstances and hope, needing not handouts but opportunities. Olivia found more satisfaction in reading letters from scholarship recipients than she ever had in reviewing quarterly profit reports. But it was the small daily moments that truly showed how their family had healed and grown. As they prepared to leave the cemetery that day, Ethan ran ahead to place a new drawing on Noah's headstone, this one showing 4 stick figures holding hands under a rainbow, with "Our Forever Family" written in his careful second-grade handwriting. "4 figures?" Olivia asked, studying the drawing. "That's you, me, Mama, and Uncle Noah," Ethan explained matter-of-factly. "Uncle Noah is invisible now, but he's still holding our hands. Can't you feel him?" Both women looked down at their hands, and somehow they could. If this story has touched your heart the way it's touched mine, please hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to remember that love has no boundaries, and family comes in all forms. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to light, stories that remind us of the incredible power of human connection. Thank you for watching this story of unexpected family, unconditional love, and the beautiful truth that sometimes our greatest blessings come disguised as our biggest surprises. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more heartwarming stories, and share your thoughts in the comments below.